What's up, Christmas light installers? Are you ready this week? Are you ready to go, go, go? Right? You got your hat on. Are you asking for your reviews? You got your cards. This is the week that we've been working for, right? I've been saying over and over and over that the week of Thanksgiving is the biggest week that typically I know, just going through people's businesses, watching them grow, this is typically the biggest week that we push for, right? This is the week that we make sure that we are answering the phone. We make sure we're taking action. We make sure that we are doing the things that we need to do to get this business going. And so tonight, I want to just talk a little bit about maybe I've got some questions that people ask and that have been a common question. That is one, like, why do these freaking lights keep tripping? Why does it keep tripping in the rain? It's been raining and raining and raining, and I will tell you that I hate rain. I'd much rather have snow more than rain. And so we'll talk about some ways to keep that from tripping. We'll talk about some things that you should be doing. If you have got signs, get them out tonight, tomorrow. This is the week that people buy the most for Christmas lights. So this is the go week. We've been talking about go week, go week, go week. This week, this right now is our go week. This is the time that we need to take action. We need to keep posting. If you're posting in the groups, keep posting, keep posting, keep posting, keep posting. Make sure you're posting. Make sure you're taking action this week, because this is the week. This week is the week for you to take action. So that's what I want to hit on tonight. This weekend, me and DJ worked on a little project of a house next door here to my shop. We get free rent by doing the lights. So we've been doing the lights on the house next door here. So there's one way to get payment out. So you'll be able to see some videos and some pictures of it, which is pretty cool. We did the windows. I know I hate doing windows, so I did make a video. I will be having a video on doing the frames for the windows. And so that's what I've been doing this weekend. Took me a little bit longer than I thought it would, but it's all right. We are getting it done. So I've been installing Christmas lights. DJ's been installing Christmas lights. DJ's been also getting his plows ready for snow, because they're talking about snow on this weekend. I think now they just moved it to rain, but originally we were supposed to get 2 or 3 inches of snow this weekend coming up in Thanksgiving. And so that's what I've been busy. I've been working. I've been helping people grow their businesses. I've been taking phone calls from you all, helping you. I've been getting success stories. I had a guy today say he closed $25,000 today. $25,000, right? And so that is taking action. This is a guy that's been in business for 4 to 5 years. He's been following me. He's been taking action. He's growing his business. He's going to do $500,000. His goal is to do $500,000 in Christmas lights this year, which is freaking amazing. I love it when people take action, they listen to what I say, and they go do it, right? I give you the recipe, you got to go make the stuff work. And this is what's exciting. I've gotten some really exciting news this week. Another guy hitting 7 figures, another person hitting 6 figures. It's just amazing to see people taking action. And when people take action, it's amazing what happens, so that you all can start growing your business and being successful at the end of this here. And so I don't know if anybody's not commenting or not. If you comment, or my comments are not working tonight, I hope that's not the case. If you're awake and you want to take action and you are busy, this is go time. You might be clipping bulbs right now. You might be, whatever you might be doing, you might be ready to just pass out because you've been working all week. I want to hear what you all have been doing this weekend and what you got planned for this week. And are you ahead of where you want to be at? Are you behind? Where are you at? Let me know in the comments. I love to hear in the comments. I hope that the comments are working, and that they're not working. That would be terrible. I know the likes are working because I see the likes, but I'm not seeing the comments come through yet. So I'm hoping that maybe you all just sleeping on me a little bit. So if that's the case, so that's what I've been working on. Book of the week. Book of the week. Let's talk about the book of the week. My book of the week. I'm gonna actually go in my drawer and dig down a little bit because I'm thinking of a book that I haven't done in a while. And it is a great book. It is a book that I highly recommend you to read. It is a book that is amazing for you to grow your business. I haven't actually read this book in a while, but I was thinking about this book because this book here that we're going to talk about is a great book that I highly recommend you to read if you have not read this book. And this book is called Choose Your Enemies Wisely by Patrick David. This is an amazing book. I promise you, you will learn a lot from this book. This book is awesome. Again, I would highly recommend you to read this book. This book is definitely something that will make you grow your business. And so it is important that you read this book. So if you have not read this book, I highly recommend this book. It's a book that I actually did a book study on this book, which made me go deeper on. And honestly, that's something that I would recommend you to do too, is to take action, read the book, and take it into there. So again, that's what I would highly recommend you to do. So it's hard to believe I've not gotten any comments. I'm a little afraid that my comments might not be working. If that's the case, that's all right. We'll get through this. If it's not, we'll figure it out one way or another. So I'll go over to my YouTube and see if anybody's put anything in there. Oh, we do have comments. We do have comments. There we go. Triple tactic. Triple tactic. What did triple tactic say? Didn't get where I wanted, but not slowing me down. 2026 will be my year. Business growing well regardless. Yep, that's right. Caught up with my installs, more tomorrow, and then snow is coming. Need more leads, so we will see what happens. Have signs out and Facebook ads running. Mike Bailey, hi. Brandon, hi. So, if you've got questions this week, let me know. Put them in the comments. I'll answer your question. But I'm going to hit on some things that I know a lot of times there is definitely some things that people struggle with. And this is one of them. This isn't what people struggle with. This is a struggle with when it rains. So we put up these things called Christmas lights that are made of electricity. And when this electricity rains, it keeps tripping your GFCIs, right? That's exactly what happens. And so I've had this question several times this week. I've actually gotten messages, I've gotten all kinds of stuff. And so that's why I want to hit on this, is because it is something that as we get into the season, rain makes it tough. And so what are some ways to keep the rain out of them? So typically the rain will usually have issues with your males and females. A lot of times your problems will end up being your males and females. And so some of them might be that it's your female that is laying in the gutter. This is typically a big one that I see most of the time. This thing, you cut the wire. I know this has got a long wire on it, but if it has the regular, 7, 8 inches there, and you cut it, that wire just sits there and dangles. Well, over time, the sun gets a hold of it and it will just lay itself right into the gutter. And then we have this stuff coming from the sky. And when it comes from the sky, it fills those gutters up. And now we have a short. So this is why I teach you to put these in the clips, right? We want to put them in the clips, or we want to somehow keep that out of the water. Some people will say just put electrical tape on it. The problem with us putting electrical tape on it is if water still gets in there, then that is our problem, right? So that's why we want to do that. Another thing you can do is you can take your wire right there and split it. This will help with it. If we split this wire here, if I can get it to split. Um, my fingernails ain't working very good. So if we can get this here to split, I don't typically like doing that because you may hit that wire. So if you can split that wire and then stick it into your female, this will help sometimes because typically in that female hole right there in the front, it will have a place that each one of those will go to the side of it. So this is another way that it will allow that to go down in there a little bit further, then you can bend it over. Another thing that you want to do that causes these to trip is if these are on the ground, if these are laying on the ground, and a lot of times they'll go down and lay on in the ground at the bottom of a tree or your landscaping, and then we get this rain and it comes up and makes a big puddle, and now we have a short. Now we have a short which tripping this out. So this is another thing that will cause these to trip your GFCIs or breakers. Another one is that's typically what it is. Typically, it's one or two of these problems. Sometimes it can be the minis, where the minis have a place that water gets into them, and that can trip it. And so, what I always tell people is start unplugging stuff and see when it quits tripping. Right? Unplug everything and then start plugging it in and see what's tripping it. And you will find typically that it will trip it. You could have a nicked wire that the water's getting in it that way. Sometimes when it's all wet, you'll touch these wires and it'll get a little live on you. You'll feel it in it because of the way the electricity is and it's got water, and you got all these sockets and that poking in that socket. Again, these are all things that can cause us issues. And we hate callbacks, and that's why I'd much rather have snow than I would rain, because snow typically it doesn't short them out. Rain is going to short them out, and it's going to keep tripping your GFCI, and that's what's going to cause you issues and cause you pain in the neck. Is typically from that there. Sometimes you also I've actually pulled this one off the wire there. So it's got the two teeth in it, just like the other one does. And so if those two teeth get in there and short out, that's another thing that can happen from our stuff too. So that's another reason why that can short out is because that wire is in there shorting out. So those are some things that are callbacks. Other callbacks, lights aren't in, right? So a lot of times this is why I always tell you to install your lights and then come back and just double check to make sure they're tight. Because if you have a bulb that's loose, all you got to do is go up there and turn it, and it turns it back on. So that's another, one that might be a callback. If you don't listen to what I say and you glue stuff, that's going to fall off too. And there's another callback. And so these are all things that give you callbacks. And here's the thing. What makes you a great customer service and what makes you people coming back is when you fix their problems, right? So make sure that you are fixing people's problems so that way they will come back next year and they will tell all their friends. And that's why it is so important that we are doing this. First year doing it, profiting $15,000. Well, that's awesome, awesome, awesome. That's amazing. Do you try to splice your wreath at the end? I do not try to splice the wreath at the dead end. I try to put my wreath at the top. I'll put it, I don't know what you mean by that, at the dead end. Typically I just put it wherever I need to put it. We are having a struggle now when we started, we were quoting in person and closing rate was 98%. Then we switched over to just shooting out the quotes and our closing rate has decreased. Well, how much has it decreased? What was your average ticket? There's a lot. Well, I mean, did we decrease down to, 25%, 30%? But how much time is it saving you? How many can you send out? Yes, you might have been at 98%. That tells me you were too cheap in the first place, right? If you're closing in person at 98%, you need to raise your prices. You should be at $10, $12 a foot. That is something that if you're that cheap, then you need to raise your prices, right? You should never be closing 98%. Now, how many quotes could you go out in a day? Can you do 4 quotes a day? Can you do 5 quotes a day? So if you can do 5 quotes a day and you're closing all of them, great. How many quotes can you send out doing online? Can you send out 20 a day? Can you send out 30 a day? And you close 25%. So it's a lead game at that point. When I first started, the guy that taught me, he was high priced back then. In 2014, he was at $7, $8 a foot in 2014. This was 12 years ago. Some of you still ain't charging that. And that was, 11 years ago, 2014. And so he actually did in-person quotes and we did online quotes. His close rate was a little bit higher. We were sitting around 20, 21%, and he was sitting around 23 to 24%. And his average ticket was just a little bit higher than ours, like less than $50 higher than ours. And so I look at it as I'm going to do it as a lead game, right? I would much rather figure out how to get more leads than figure out how to get more salesmen to go out and close jobs, because he was still having to go out and sell. Yes, his company was doing $750,000 back then, but he was having to go out and sell the jobs. And so that's kind of that little bit of a stickiness of is it better to get more leads and have less close rate or go in person? Because going in person, I think if you have a small service area and you live in that service area, absolutely go in person. I was actually talking about my friend Wes with Wise Guys. He has a 5-mile radius of his service area. And so, yes, it makes sense to go to in-person quoting. Myself, I'm 45 minutes away from my area that I serviced, right? I can't go do quotes or I'm going to be driving all the time. And that's 45 minutes on a no traffic day. That's just driving there. With traffic, it's an hour and a half. And so, to get to the northeast side of Cincinnati, that's where all my customers were, or the majority of my customers were up along the north side of Cincinnati. And so, yes, if I lived up there, I would do possibly in-person quotes. But it's an easier to get the quotes out than it is to try to sit there and do in-person on all of those. I dislike virtual. So yes, we have the termination caps, and yes, they're a little bit cheaper, but on the same hand, am I really worried about the 10, 20 cents that I'm saving versus putting a female on the end of it? Because next year, when you're done and you don't do that house, you got to go put them up somewhere else. Now you're cutting off the cap, right? And yes, I sell the caps. And here's the thing. I carry lots of females in my pockets. Now I've got to carry another thing in my pocket that my guys won't carry and won't put on it. And so it's back to keeping things simple. A lot of times we like to complicate it and put 20 things on when we can do the same thing with one thing. And if I need to add more lights, I've already got a female on it, and so that's why, again, yes, I have termination caps. Yes, if you need them, you can go to christmaslights.io. Right here and go, you can type in termination caps and you can get them there. And so that's kind of back to keeping it simple. Yes, I do sell them. Do I push them? I keep it simple, right? You already have females in your pocket, put a female on the end of it. Because a termination cap can get water in it just as easy as this stupid thing can. You know, this is designed to let water out also. What's up, Jason? How's the season going for you? It's going good, going well. It's been a learning curve this year for me, for sure. What app or program do you use to track inventory, expenses, and profit? That is a loaded question right there. That is as loaded as you can get because there is not one software that does that great. Not one. So actually I was on the phone call with this here talking to another guy talking about inventory and tracking, right? So typically your expenses and your profits is going to be on like QuickBooks because that's going to pull a lot of that information out because then you will know what those expenses are in inventory. You can use Jobber to do some of that if you put it all in. It is going to take you some time to put it in, but that's kind of where you are. The side of inventory, I personally don't know of a great system for inventory. And so this is one of those things that makes it tough. Like, how much have you sold? How much do you need? Where are you, do you wing it? I mean, we always wing it. I always kept extra roll and bulb so that way we always had enough. And did we ever run out? Absolutely we did. Absolutely we did. When do you install quotes dry up? Mid-December? Typically, you will have great quotes this week. Like this week is the hot week. Everybody will call you and want to put up before Thanksgiving. The following week, being that Thanksgiving is late this year, kind of screws us a little bit. And here's what I mean. So typically, if Thanksgiving is early and we have another week before, then we have another weekend before the year or before December, then a lot of people go to Thanksgiving and they forgot about their Christmas lights and then they start installing after the fact, right? This year, you're going to get this week, and the beings that December 1st is on Monday, I believe it is. Actually, I don't even know when it is. I'm going to look it up instead of guess because I'm just guessing at this point. So December is on Monday. So you'll probably get a lot of phone calls that week a little bit, but then it dries up really fast. So by the end of that next weekend, it's going to go down pretty quickly. So that's typically how it works in the past. Has always worked. I always say about by December 10th, usually you're done. You might get a couple stragglers, but you're pretty much done at that point. Would you say 3,000 revenue to 14,000 revenue first year to second year is good growth? It is for you, maybe. I mean, it depends on what did you do to grow it that far, right? Do you want to grow more? It depends on who you are, right? It depends on what your success looks like. Have I had a guy go from nothing to 100,000 their first year? Yes. Have I had a guy go from 179,000 to 600,000 their first or second year? Yes. Right? It's what's exciting. Is that good for you? That would be my question for you. Because what you do to get that? How much did you spend in marketing? What have you done for that? Right? What are you doing to grow this thing? Because if you didn't put nothing into growing it, then you can't expect more out of it. If you only bought 100 yard signs or 200 yard signs and you grew that, then that's great. Now, if you put out 1,000 yard signs and you only went from 3,000 to 14,000, then we got another issue. There's another problem, right? And so it just depends on what is good for you. What is that success looks like for you? You know, are we charging $6 a foot, $4 a foot, or are we charging $8 to $10 a foot? Are we charging $8 a foot? What's your average ticket? What's your growth? So there's a lot of factors in that question that you asked. You know, again, I had a guy call me today and he closed $25,000. I had another guy call me today. He went all in on Christmas lights this year, and he sent two quotes out at $10 a foot. And guess what they said? Yes, right? Because he asked, he got it. He's like, typically I would have been $8 a foot, and I went to 10, and I got both of them. So it's a trigger in your mind that people will pay that versus what you've been telling yourself that nobody would pay this. And when you got that little mind in your head that keeps telling you, that little voice in your head, nobody in your area will pay it, you're 100% right. I had a guy come to my Dallas class this year, and he sent me a message, and he's like, I am closing at $8 to $10 a foot, because that's what he believes. He didn't listen to the other people that tell you that you can't get it in your area. Because when you listen to those voices in your head and they get in your head, you start believing it too. And so it's all in how you sell and what you sell and how you go for it. Strander or Holly lights? I'm assuming you're talking about holiday home lights. I don't know what Holly lights are. Just depends on what you want. I don't get nothing out of either one of them. So they're both there. They both work. They can just whatever you want to take action at. You can use ChatGPT. You can use Google Gemini. Those are free. Well, I don't know if they're 100% free, but they're not that expensive also there. As soon as they hear installing in December, people panic and may or may not book. And this is why I get big on making sure that you keep this week open, right? Try to keep this week open as much as possible, because as you said, when you put it in December, they won't do it a lot of times. They start thinking completely different by putting them in December, especially if you're like the 5th or 6th or 8th. This is why I tell people 2 weeks ago that if you're booking this week already, you better be booking at $10 and $14 a foot, because you don't want nobody cheap at this point. If you've already booked out, you're going to be full and nobody's going to book with you. So that's why it's important that we make sure that as we're booking through, we're making sure that we're getting those higher clients this week, and people will pay it. People will get it up there. Jolly lights. Between Jolly lights and Strander, I'd probably do Strander, in my personal opinion. Jolly lights does okay. Either one, honestly, you can do Jolly lights because it's free on an iPad, and then you can go put it in Gemini, or you can go put it in a different one and make it look even better. I know some people that are doing that, right? They're putting it in Gemini. They're mocking it up. They're putting it in Gemini, and Gemini banana images will make it look amazing, right? So you can put snow in it. I know one person's putting it in Grok and making a video with it. All kinds of things, right? What are you thinking outside the box of how you're getting these done? So those are all things that we can do. Now, who here is asking for reviews? Because this is the time we need to be also asking for reviews. Rather you got the tap card or you got the review card. And if you want to take a picture of this here, you can take a picture and use the QR code and give me a review if you would like. But are you asking for reviews? This is important, right? If we're not asking for reviews, you're not going to get reviews. And if we're not asking for reviews, then Google's not going to also send you more leads. So this is another way that might not help you out a lot this year, but moving forward in the future will help you out tremendously, right? And here's the thing, I have to eat a little crow. I'm going to tell you, because we don't know, up until just recently, Google was a little bit behind the eight ball in the AI game, but they've kind of stepped it up a whole bunch here recently. And so Google ain't going away. In fact, I'd probably put Google at one of the top of the AI game right now because they do have so much data. And so they do go off a lot of your reviews. So if you want to be found, even in the AI game, are you asking for reviews? How are you asking for reviews? Are you asking for reviews all the way through the process? Are you asking, hey, Miss Jones, our goal is to make you so happy, you want to give us a 5-star review and tell all of your friends. And then you get to the job, my goal is to make you so happy, you want to give me a review and tell all of your friends. Hey, Miss Jones, is there any reason why you wouldn't give me a 5-star review? Oh, Jason, you did great. Awesome. Here, go ahead and pull out your phone. Just pull it out and then just tap it, right? Just put it on there and tap it. Who is this one here? Let's see. Who is this one? Did I do this? I haven't set this one. So you just tap it, it'll come up on their phone, and then you can help them get a review. And so this is why it's so important that you have to go out there and get that, right? This is why we have to ask for them. You can make this template right here off of Canva and have them even printed out, and it doesn't cost that much. Or you can go to christmaslights.io, find the marketing resource, and I can get it all for you. Whatever you want to do. But again, you got to ask, because this is also for the Google reviews. Make sure you're getting pictures, putting pictures up there, putting pictures in your Google business profile. And how many pictures do we need? We need 100 pictures plus. We need pictures of the houses that you're doing. We need the people that are doing it too. This year and moving forward, you're going to start seeing more. The people that have personal brands are going to do better, right? Bobby Duncan is doing $5,750,000 on his personal brand, right? On his personal Facebook, all by doing that. And so this is why it's so important that we are getting our reviews, making sure we're posting, making sure we're getting that stuff done. Have you ever raised your prices too high where your conversions were less than 20% over a month? Typically, that's where we are. Most people that I know are in that 15 to 20% range. And you're at the $8 to $10, $12 a foot, and they're at the 20% range. Some of them I know that are down in the 15% range. So I don't think that's too high. I think that's because here's the thing, if you're at 25 and 30 at $6 a foot and you're at 20 at 8, the numbers don't lie at that point. You're going to make more money at 8 and have less work, but you also have less headaches too when you're lower like that. Jeremy Scott, yep, just got sick since sending my messages. Awesome. So here's another thing I'm going to hit on. Tomorrow, whenever you want to do it. If you want to close an extra $5,000, $10,000, go out there and text every one of your past clients that haven't closed on you, even from last year. Send them a text and send them an email. I know in the past you could use Text Magic and download all your phone numbers in there and just send a text out. And you will find out that people will close. Typically, when I see this happen, I know last year when I told people to do it this week, there was like 4 or 5 people messaged me and said, I just closed my $5,000. So if you want to close $5,000 worth of business, Go out there and send a text, a blanket text. And you can say something along the lines of, Thanksgiving's only a few days away. Do you have your lights up? Your quote is here, or however you want to say it. So go out there and send a text to every quote that you haven't closed yet. Also, send an email. Do both. Send a text and an email, because you will find out that people are going to be like, I need this done. And you can say, I have one spot open this week, or however you want to say it, right? So you can have one or two spots open and just seeing if you want to get your lights up. So that way you're using scarcity, you're getting it done, making it happen. So if you want to close an extra $5,000, send a quote out, send a text out to every one of your customers. Do it tomorrow. Do it first thing in the morning, because people are thinking about it and they know they need to get it up before Christmas. So make sure that you go out there and send that text out today, tomorrow morning, whenever. I probably wouldn't do it at 9:30 tonight. I'd do it first thing in the morning. So that way people will know and get that done. So if you want to close an extra money, go out there and get that and do that. Send that text. I promise you it works. And if you haven't done that, then you're leaving money on the table. And you don't want to leave money on the table, right? You already gave that person a quote. You already got charged the $5 or $10 or $20, $30, how much ever it cost you to get that lead. So make sure that you are going out there and sending a text. It doesn't cost you about $50, 20 or $50, depending on how many people you have, right? And so just go out there and make sure that you are sending those texts out there. Any tips? And if you all got any other questions, don't hesitate to ask. Any tips on how to de-ice gutters? I have 200 gutter cleanings, and it looks like I will be dealing with icy gutter this season. Yeah, wait till it falls out, because it costs you more money to clean them out when you poke the screwdriver through the aluminum because you're trying to get the leaves out, or the scraper through the aluminum, than it's worth. So how do I know? Because I might have done it. So if it's too cold, it's too cold. And I mean, I know that ain't the answer you want, but I mean, right now it's up in the 50s and, it's up in the 40s and 50s. Typically you can get them cleaned out at that warm. You can be like my buddy up in New York. He uses a pressure washer, so that kind of warm water kind of helps unthaw them out enough to get them cleaned out. So that's another option that you may have. So again, the leaves fell late this year. Here, the leaves are all finally down. Typically, they're down in October, but it didn't really get cold enough. We had that one snowstorm, and that kind of was the final straw of getting them down. So it was one of those things of where it was, right? So just remember this. This week, I know a lot of people have been struggling of trying to get through, and they're wore out, and they're burned out, and they're ready for the Christmas lights to be over. Think of it this way. This is the fourth quarter. We have 5 minutes left, and it's go time. This is the time to kick it in gear. This is the time to get off the bed and get your butt moving, right? This is not time to sit there and sit there and complain about, I'm wore out. I don't have, you have this week and next week. You literally have 2 weeks of Christmas light installing. Again, this is the week not to sit there and complain. This is the week to get your butt up and get moving. This is the week to answer your phone. This is the week to get those quotes out fast. This is the week to get it done. If you need materials, we are still 2 to 3 days is 80, it's like 89%. So if you need materials, we also got to remember that Thanksgiving is going to cut a day off, so you won't have materials being delivered on Thanksgiving. So typically we've been very fast shipping. I've been getting, man, that came quick. So again, if you need anything, christmaslights.io, we ship super fast. I've had several people asking about next day, trying to get it, and that's fine if the customer wants to pay for next day. But next day is costing anywhere from about $400 to $700. So if they want it that bad, just make sure that you raise your prices to get it that bad. And so this is important that you take action. If you need lights, get them ordered, right? christmaslights.io. We get them there super fast. They ship the same day you order them. We don't wait. I've had 2 or 3 other people telling me, I ordered from here and it took 14 days. I ordered from this one, it took 10 days. I ordered from this one, it took 8 days. Is there some stuff that we've had issues with? Yes, but like I said, 88 or 89% have made it within 3 days. I want to pull the report tomorrow because I've been watching the report. I want to know where we are, right? I want to know how fast we're getting stuff to you. It's like 36% is getting it in the first day, the next day. So again, that's where we are hitting on that very hard. I am a one-man show with a 9 to 5, looking for more leads. Where do I go? Where do I start? Well, at this point, you have about one option, and that's called YouTube, or that's called Facebook. Get into Facebook groups, get on your Facebook, and start posting. Because at this point, you're not getting signs. If you have signs, get them out. This is the week to get all your signs out. If it was me, I'd have every sign out that I have this week. I wouldn't even worry so much after Thanksgiving and Black Friday. Somebody was like, should I get them out on Black Friday? And I'm like, people aren't thinking about Christmas lights when they're driving around. They're thinking about buying whatever that is for their Christmas kids, right? Their kids, their gifts, their that kind of stuff. So get those signs out this week. When I've been telling you and I've been preaching you can go back and I'm not telling no different, right? 200 yard signs a week. This is the week. This is the week you put 200 or 300 yard signs out. I never forget when Sam's like, I don't think I'm going to put any signs out. I'm like, are you crazy? He's like, okay. So he went out and put out 300 yard sign and he got a crap ton of phone calls because that's what this is the week we're pushing for. This is go week. If you want to put out signs, this is the week. I had to put them out Friday, so they'd have been out all weekend, but I definitely get them out tonight, in the morning, now, right? Yard signs, yard signs, yard signs. Yard signs work amazing, and again, go get them out. I'm on my last deck project. They have 2 decks and a pergola. Ready to start rest and plan for February. Great year. Awesome, Jeremy. That's amazing. Jeremy started and watching and learning and growing his business and taking action. And it's awesome to see how far he's come. He's gotten himself into a niche of doing decks and sealing decks. And by taking action, it has definitely gotten him very far. And so, what is it that you got to do? What if you live in a small town? Okay. Is there any big towns around? I know a guy that lives in 80,000 people lives in, and I know that's not a small town, but it is, right? Because he don't have a bigger town by him, but lives in a town of 80,000 doing $500,000 in Christmas lights. You don't need everybody. You need 100. You only need 100 people willing to pay you $2,000. That's $200,000. Right? That's all you need. 100 people paying you $2,000. You don't need everybody. I don't need thousands of installs because all that is thousands of headaches, right? The more installs you get, the more headaches you get. So, if it was me, perfect world, I'd do 100 jobs, that each one of $2,000, and I'd have an average ticket of $2,000. I'd be making 200 grand a year doing 100 homes. It don't take long to do 100 homes. With a good roof guy and a good roof guy, that's all you need. That's all you need. Just flood the little towns, right? And that's the thing. I've got a guy who lives out here in Indiana, outside of Indianapolis, and he don't go into Indianapolis. And he does very well for himself. He hits a lot of these, he hits all the little towns. And that's what you do. You hit signs in all the little towns. And the best, you hit the yard signs out in those country roads, they stay out there forever. If nobody's coming out to taking them down. So that's another thing that you can do with there. Another thing you can do. So go take action. If you need materials, get it ordered, right? Don't wait till you need it and you sell a job and now you ain't got the materials and now you're having to wait till next weekend to do it and get it done. So get it done. Take action. Make it happen. Go out there. Get it done. I'm just pushing because I want you to be successful. You've got to go. You've got to get it done. Don't stop now. Post, 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 post. I've shown people in my class why you post 10 to 15 times a day in groups on your personal page. The reason why Bobby Duncan does so good is he posts 5 to 10 times a day. Every day. He's doing lives, he's doing shorts, he's doing videos, he's showing pictures. And it's not just of his business either. He's showing everything. Go get it done, right? I've got other people that have been very successful on Facebook. Facebook is an amazing tool that you can get a lot done on it and be very successful. But if you sit there and if you want something to happen and you do nothing, nothing's going to happen. You got to take action. You got to get up. You know what? I give you all everything you need. There is not one thing I hold back. I'm going to get on a rant here. I haven't been on a rant here lately. I see people here and they're in amazing areas and they're only charging $7 a foot. And I think to myself, well, no wonder you can't grow. And then this person I'm thinking about sits there and argues with other people. And I sit there and I'm like, if you would just open your eyes and just take action, you would be very successful. You would be way more successful than you are. And this one person that I'm thinking about sits there and complains about another service. And it's like, if you're charging like you are on Christmas lights, on this other service, if you're charging the same over here, no wonder you're struggling. Because you don't believe in yourself. In this area he lives in, I've got guys in the exact same area doing it for $10 and $14 and $16 a foot for Christmas lights. But yet you're sitting here saying you can't get $7 a foot, or that's all you can get, because that's the mindset, and you're selling bulbs. If you want to sell bulbs, you're going to get the $6, $7 a foot. Start selling memories. Start thinking about it different. Why do you want Christmas lights? Do you know that over 90, it's a Harvard study, and I would even say it's probably higher than this, that 90% of people buy on emotion. There ain't nobody buying on logic. But yet, we want to talk all about this bulb. We want to talk about this clip. We're going to peak it. We're going to do all the bull crap that means absolutely nothing to that customer. That customer don't care. That customer does not care. I've seen it over and over. I've listened to calls that I know, like, man, no wonder you're getting $8, $10, $14 a foot, because he's built that emotion bond with that person and he closes the jobs. Quit selling bulbs. Quit selling clips. Quit selling the light bulbs. Why do they want Christmas lights? Why? Is it because their grandkids are coming over? Is it because their kids are coming home for Christmas? Why? Is it because they lost a loved one and they love Christmas lights? Why? Why do they want Christmas lights? That's the important part to understand this, because a lot of people don't get why they're selling it. They're selling bulbs, but your customers aren't buying bulbs. You can buy bulbs all day for $2 a foot, and some people are installing for $2 a foot. And so, why does your customer want lights? Why? Answer that question. Why do they want them? A lot of times you don't shut up long enough to know why they want them. You just keep spewing all about these bulbs. Ask them, why do you want Christmas lights? What's so important this year? Maybe it's a childhood memory that they remembered pulling up into grandma and grandpa's house. Sometimes you got to dig for it a little bit. This is why I like females on phones, and I don't like men on phones, unless you have a Scottish accent. Why do they want bulbs? Why? Why do they want Christmas lights? What are they wanting the Christmas lights for? And how do we sell on that? How do we say, you know what, when Bobby and know what their kid's names is and know what it is, right? Learn it. When Johnny comes home and he sees those lights, it's going to look amazing. Can you just imagine his face and the excitement on his face to see grandma's house? That's awesome, right? That's selling the magic. That's finding the magic and selling it. I was watching a TikTok this morning of the Nana bananas, right? The Savannah bananas. And he was talking about Disney. You can only control the controllables. Some things you can't control. And he was talking about Disney and how they control the smells, the sights, the sounds. What can you control? Quit controlling the bulbs. The bulbs don't sell themselves. But what can you sell? What can you give more of and makes more money for you to sell it? Think of what sells more. How do I find out what that memory is that they need to know, what I need to know? You know, DJ does a house. His wife died 2 years ago, and he's still doing the house. So that's the important part of understanding this, right? Why do they want Christmas lights? Figure that out. A lot of people don't ever figure this out, and they typically go out of business because they're cheap. I don't want you to be cheap. I want you to be the most expensive guy in your area. Why do you want to be the cheapest guy in the area? I was dealing with another guy today. He's like, because and if you're watching me. He's like, I charge anywhere from $6 to $8 a foot. You know what that tells me? You charge $6 a foot. And then he's like, I give them 25% off the next year. I'm like, you're literally going out there and doing these jobs for $4 a foot. You're literally giving away all of your profit. You're pissing away every bit of your profit. You're not even, profit is not a bad word. That's what keeps you in business, is making profit. Profit is a good thing to have. A lot of businesses don't have profit. They have money in, money out, and hope they got some left over. That's not a good business save, right? Profit. And here's the thing. I don't care if you do $1 million. If your profit is only $50,000, was it worth it? I know these guys that they want to go. I know another guy that he's out of Indianapolis, and he was going for quantity, right? 400 installs, making $500,000. That's a lot of freaking work to only bring in $500,000. And he did it for year after year because he kept trying to go, right? It's not about that. It's not about getting 500 installs. It's not about getting 1,000 installs. People always like, I want to get to 100 installs. Well, are you getting 100 installs at $1,000 a piece? Or are you getting a 50 job than getting them at $2,000? I'd much rather get 50 jobs at $2,000 than 100 jobs at $1,000. Because it's the same amount of money, but you're doing twice as much work. And this is why I'm teaching you all, and I'm preaching it at you, because I want you all to be successful. I want you to be the ones that are sending me messages saying, Jason, I just closed $23,000, right? I just closed $23,000. That's what I want you to be. I want you to be those. I want you to be those people, right? I don't want you to be the broke people. I want you to be the people that are telling me. Let's see if this is it.
Just for like 30 seconds, I just want to.
Nope, that ain't it. Let's see if this one's it.
23,000 added to the schedule today.
Let's listen to that again.
23,000 added to the schedule today already. Let's fucking go.
Right? Let's go.
Just made it a massive county deal. Like, it's not that massive, but probably my massive biggest deal ever. So that's pretty cool. So it's a $20,000 deal, and it's just the first phase of many projects they want to.
$20,000 deal, right? That's what I'm talking about. This is the guy that's in New Mexico that's going to do $500,000. It's life changing for him. He took his son to a big trip across the world. I want you to be successful. I want you to grow this business. I want you to take action. I want you to grow. I don't want you to be $6 a foot because that's what somebody else is telling you to be $6 a foot because they don't believe in themselves to charge more than that in that same freaking area. That's the dumbest thing ever. I've seen it over and over and over. Daniel, right? I'm going to use Daniel. Daniel learned from me. Daniel's learned from me from day one. And here's the thing. He went out there and he did $179,000 his very first year. Is there guys in the DC area that are charging $4 and $6 a foot? And the answer is yes, there is. Is he charging $10 to $14 a foot? Yes, he is. This is the difference. It's this mindset and what you're taking action is the difference, right? The reason why I preach this book so much, that you should study this book, that you should take the first 6 steps in the first 3 chapters where he talks about what to do, is why you need to do it. Because if you don't believe any different in your brain, you will never change where you're at. And here's the thing, I get it. A lot of you come from working a $20, $30 an hour job, and making profit was never in your vocabulary. Only thing you ever heard is rich man bad. Making profit is not a bad thing. This is why I preach this book so much. This is why I want you to read this book so much. This is why I study this book more and more. This is why, because I want you to grow your business. I want you to take it to the next level. I want you to have 5 employees. I want you to have 10 employees. I want you to get to a 7-figure business. That's what I want you to do. But you can't do it on the mindset of a $20 an hour employee or a $30 an hour employee. It's going to be really hard for that to come through. And I want you to change your life because this is life-changing stuff. Like, this right here is life-changing stuff. Making 6, 7 figures is life-changing stuff. I know, because I've seen it myself. I remember when we hit the seven figures, right? When our business hit 7 figures, it's life-changing. You can have time freedom, you can have financial freedom, and it's amazing. You know, I never forget my friends from down in Florida when they paid off all of their debt. And it was an amazing thing that they did. And he was just an auto body guy. And now they're doing $750,000 to $1 million a year, hanging Christmas lights and pressure washing. And it's amazing that people say, you make more than doctors do. And that's when you just smile at them and say, yes, I do. And it didn't take me 10 years to school to get through it. Jason, first year, put up 700 yard signs, got 170 calls, 11 installed so far. Do you think we get 11 more installs until Christmas? Thank you. I think you can. I think you 100% can. My question is what was on the yard signs? Because that seems kind of low on calls for 700 yard signs. would be my question. Answering the phone every call, giving super fast quotes, knowing how to get more leads than you can handle, and charging premium all will change your life. Thank you, Jason. I can't say it no better. Can't say it no better. And that's for Christmas lights. Answering the phone, giving super fast quotes, knowing how to get more leads than you can handle, and charging premium will change your life. It's the truth. It's not about quantity. It's not about how many numbers you can do. It's not about doing more jobs at cheap. Is there a Walmart? Yeah, but there's only one Walmart, right? We don't want to be Walmart. We want to be the high dollar purse, right? Only reason why I think about purses is because Jeremy Main's purse. Jennifer loves purses, and she just got her a new one. Who's Jen? That's Jen right there. Pink Pro Wash. Does she have $5,000, $10,000 purses? Yeah, she does. Did you ever know people that would buy a $5,000 or $10,000 purse? That's what I mean. Who's your customer? Because there's a lot of people out there paying that. Actually, I shouldn't say there's a lot. There's enough people out there paying it. That's all we need, right? There's enough people out there that will pay it. Are we going to get everybody? No, we're not. We're not. And that's okay. Y'all, that's super low. I have 200 signs out and they have closed about 25 jobs at an average of $1,500. Yeah, I would kind of agree with you. I wonder what the sign says. Signs, everywhere signs. I was thinking about a hot water pressure for gutter cleaning. What's a good brand? Uh, Depends on how much you want to spend, because they can get pretty expensive, pretty crazy. Thank you for this amazing insight and encouragement. Just take action. That's the only thing I'm asking. Take action. Go take action. And it's going to be scary and it's going to be hard. But you know what? You can do hard things. You can. You set your mind to it, you can do hard things. In this book, he tells you to read it out loud to you in the morning and night. Write it down on paper, put it in your mirror, put it wherever you see it, and read it out loud to yourself morning and night. And put heart into it and believe it. And it's amazing what you can do. It's amazing what you can do. You got to put the heart into it. You got to get into it, though, right? It's not just going to happen. This book was written off of 500 very successful people. And that what worked in 1937 still works in 2025. I've seen it over and over in my life. I've seen it in other people's lives. And it's amazing how that can work. My signs were out from last week of September to October 15th. Haven't put any more out than 200. Christmas lights and phone number only on in the sign. Keep it simple, right? We love to complicate these signs. It's about keeping it simple, and it's amazing how we can do that. Just keep it simple. Don't get too crazy on overcomplicating things. This is the week. Answer your phone, get it done. Get the quote out as fast. Don't wait. Don't wait till tonight. Get it done now. You already got the job you're at. We need to get more jobs. We don't want to lose those jobs, so we got to get them fast. Have someone answering the phone for you. Whatever you need to do, get this phone answered. Make sure that you are answering the phone fast and getting those quotes out fast. Speed to lead. is key. Closed mouths don't get fed. Go ask for $12 to $15 per foot. Then you can offer small discounts after the return the next year and still make $10 to $12 a foot. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. But yet people will tell me, you, Jason, you can't get that in my area. I've heard it over and over and over. Go get it. You know, you have not because you asked not. If you're at $6 a foot this week, ask for $8. And if you want to send me your $2 of profit off of each job, I would be happy to take it for you, since you think you can't get it in your area. You know, instead of getting $600, you get $800, send me the check for $200. And then next year you'll get paid more. Go take action. Just ask. What are they going to say? Same thing they're saying now. No. Right? They might say yes. They probably will say yes. Be confident. Go take action. Again, if you need Christmas lights, christmaslight.io will take you straight to the shop page. Fast shipping, free shipping over $399. If you're at, instead of paying the $40 shipping, just buy a couple more things that you're going to need anyway. Get you to $400 and get you free shipping. Free shipping. Ships the same day. You order tonight, it'll be shipped out tomorrow. You order tomorrow, it'll be shipped out tomorrow. As long as you order it before like 5 o'clock, it'll be shipped out the same day. It's amazing. 88% in 3 days. Like 36% in 1 day. So again, if you need anything, christmaslights.io, go out there and take action, guys. It is important. I love you guys. I want you to be successful. I want you to grow your business. I know you can. There's nothing special about any of these people that have grown their businesses. And then last, let's be safe. I know we're getting tired. I know we get tired of climbing on these roofs sometimes, but let's stay safe. Let's make sure we've had too many people already injured this year. If you have an Apple Watch, make sure that it is turned on for the fall. It saved a guy's life this week, past 2 weeks ago. There's a girl in our group talked about her husband. They just left the job and she got a notice on her phone that he had fallen. And it was because his watch, because when they got there, he was still passed out and unconscious. His watch notified, seen the fall or felt the fall, and she was the emergency contact in his phone, and it called him, and I think it called 911. It called her and it called 911. So if you have an Apple Watch, make sure if you're working solo, make sure. This is why we shouldn't work solo, right? This is why we should be having other people. This is why we should have other people with us when we're doing this. What's up, Zach? How do you argue $12 to $15 to your customer when you're up against folks that are doing it for $4? The response of repeatedly hearing that is too high is tough. What are you selling? Are you selling Christmas lights? Or are you selling magic? Are you selling memories? Or are you going straight for the lights? Is this for everybody? No. Are you getting leads that everybody's getting, or are you only getting the leads? If you're getting leads off of Facebook, you probably are going to get every handyman and everybody that's doing it for $4 a foot. And at that point, go $8 a foot. Be at $8 a foot. How do you get it? Sell the magic, sell the emotion. You answered your phone. The guy at $4 a foot ain't answering the phone. If they said last year they only did it for $4 a foot, be like, well, why aren't you using them? Well, they didn't call back. Well, we have insurance. We have all the right stuff, right? We have insurance. We're going to come back and take them down. If they have a problem, we're going to come back and fix them. That's what we're giving you. That's what we're offering. Find out why they don't, if they said, if I asked them, hey, have you ever had Christmas lights installed? And they say yes, I'm gonna say awesome. What did you like about that service and what didn't you like about it? Because whatever they tell me they didn't like about it, I'm gonna make sure I'm really good at that. Because that's where I'm gonna push really hard. I didn't like that they never came back and took them down. Well, and when they say you're too high, well, the guy that did them last year, he didn't come take them back down. He's out of business. He didn't have insurance. What if he would have fell in on your property and got hurt? Right? There's all kinds of things we can do there. Got my first no this week, and that was I got my first no this week, and that was at $6 a foot. So again, raise your prices. Don't be afraid to ask. What are they gonna say? No? Okay. Go on to the next person. Not everybody is gonna say yes. We know that 15 to 20% are gonna say yes. That means out of every 10 clients, you're gonna get 8 no's. The problem of it is most of you won't get to 8 no's. Most of you will get to 2 or 3 no's and say, Jason, I told you that doesn't work. I've got 3 no's. I told you that didn't work. You can't get that in my area. You know what? You might have to get to 16 no's before you get to 4 yeses. And that's okay. How do we get more leads? It's a numbers game. I don't want a bunch of cheap clients. You shouldn't either. And I know it don't always make sense, but I promise you it works out in the end. I promise you it works out in the end. Again, if you need Christmas lights, christmaslights.io, fast shipping, free shipping, fast. You'll get it this week. That's how fast it is. When your quote proposal is rejected to price, remember, due to pricing, remember. Remember what? When your quote proposal is rejected due to pricing, remember. Well, here's the other thing. Are you following up? How many times have you followed up? A lot of you get the first no and just give up right then. Yes, Christmas lights is a luxury, 100%. Or high-end clients, not for everyone. What is your follow-up? Do you follow up? Did you know that most people need 10 to 12 touches to close a job? Are you touching these people 10 to 12 times? Are you sending texts? Are you sending emails? Are you sending phone calls? Are you sending voice bombs? What are you doing? Or did you just get the no and just hang up? That's why I'm telling you right now. That's why I told you all earlier today. Send a text to everyone that you sent a quote to. If you send a quote to them this year and they have not closed, send them a quote. Typically, I get people that can close $5,000 by sending that one email, that one text. Send a quote tomorrow. That's what you do. Send a quote. And I've had several people get $5,000 by sending a text to every one of their people that they've sent a quote to. Send it tomorrow morning. Text Magic, I don't know if Text Magic still works or not, but Text Magic is who we used to always use if you need something that's a quick text. Send a text to every one of your customers. Hey, we only have a few spots open before Thanksgiving. Better get on the schedule. ChristmasLights.io. If you need anything, let me know. You can message me here on Facebook. You can text me at the 855 if you want to know when I go live, or if you got a question, you can text me here at 855-863 or 619-5483, which spells the word light, L-I-T-E, 855-619-LIGHT. Again, if you need anything, let me know. All numbers game, that's just have to work backwards and believe in yourself 100%. 100%. And with that, go take action this week and let's close some jobs. Let's get some jobs done and let's stay safe. Don't need nobody getting hurt or dying this week. So stay safe and take action. Make it happen. Grow your business. You guys are awesome. Go be great.